Namaskar, viewers. As we all know, what the world has seen, it's going to be almost 3 years. Paradigm shift, new dimensions to the world. The countries, those who used to claim themselves that we are the world power, we have seen them, what condition that they have gone through. We're not talking bad about any nation, but we're talking about what you could do. And I am honored to sit next to Priyam Gandhi Mody, who got this book, A Nation to Protect. What the journey that India has taken during pandemic. We call it the virus which came from China. It's still not yet over. I mean, so much has gone. World has seen, it has brought many people together. So many families has been ruined, lost. But show must go on, to be honest. Priyam decided to work on it because it's a time now to tell the story who we are. I always say from the beginning, you must be proud to say that who you are. Then only world will accept you. It is not what he is saying or she is saying. If I don't speak, somebody will talk about me. We welcome you to TV Asia. Priyamji, let's hear about your journey. I heard that this is your fourth book and you're working on a film which will be coming next year sometimes. I know it's not easy to touch a subject which has been very sensitive, but I'm always very, very positive about this, and I always say, if I will not tell my side, who will tell? Because then they will take their own, and we are seeing it what all been happening over a period of time. So we will go flip over, but let's hear from you first. What made you to put this through?
Thank you. So, like you rightly said, sometime in should I hold this?
No, I can. Okay.
Sometime in 2021, when we were reading everywhere, splashed across various media outlets, what India is going through, how India is responding, that information was nearly not enough. Details needed to be told, what our challenges were, what were some of our successes, how we were trying to help our people and many other countries. And that story needed to be brought out in detail, and that's what made me write the book.
It has mentioned about different chapters, section wise, first wave, then the second wave, and what all has gone through. So when we talk about, because you have met the Honorable Prime Minister also in this concept, and you had one-on-one with him that you shared while you're discussing with the audience here, that what he was going through when this is for a world leader, I must say that, in today's time, because his body speaks 2014 and before, how India has been seen like snake charmer's land, but now people see it the first speech of his, I do remember, he said, people used to call us, but the Maoist itself, like our people are running. The small notes of his, he always leaves something. Even if you listen to him for half an hour, 45 minutes, you can definitely capture something. So let's hear from you.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I met him sometime this time last year, I wasn't expecting anything that I came out of the meeting with. I thought it was going to be a very short meeting, and he's probably going to talk to me for 2 minutes. It'll be like an introduction, and that's pretty much it. But it wasn't that, and I think that perception of his was built in my mind like that because of what I've read about him in the media, that he's strong and he won't let you speak, etc., etc. But at the minute I started speaking to him, all of that perception was shattered, because he was so different, he was so warm, he was so vulnerable, at the same time brave and courageous and confident. So completely blew me away.
We do know he's a very good listener. We do know that. We see that. Because even if you correspond with him, we have never heard anything. Because the way he engages with the people. Prime Ministers has been there. India has been a democracy from 1947. PM's been coming and going. We never even knew. From 2014 onwards, whenever the Indian Prime Minister comes to any nation, I think the world knows about it. And even the diaspora is 700 people, 7,000 people, 700,000 people. He is always there for people. We have seen it many means starting from Madison Square Garden. That was the first one. Then Howdy Modi. When we talk about Melbourne, any country you see that he has been embraced by people, and he embraces people too.
Yes, absolutely. And this kind of power, from the leader of our country, really certainly raises the stakes for India in the world order. And now we're seeing the way India responded to the pandemic, sort of flipping expectations. That just sort of solidifies the rise, in the world order that India is on, and that's led by Prime Minister Modi.
Inflation, we are seeing the effect right here. Too big. Supply chains. But when we talk to people in India, they are very comfortable. I mean, because, and I have seen it in person even before 2019, the pandemic, when I was there. I said how the media portrays the sabji, tomato ka bhav. And I did live, means I said, what is this for? क्यों झूठ बोलते हैं? आजकल दिन में झूठ पकड़ा जाता है. It's not easy. So when we talk about the lockdown, you shared this thing, it would not have been easy where it is 1.34 billion people, everybody doesn't have an access. They may have WhatsApps, but even then they pick as per the convenience.
That's right. In terms of the economy, today we see that India is much more insulated than several other global powers, in the world, because we made very apt decisions at the right time during the pandemic. For instance, let me give you an example that in the United States, the government gave a lot of cash in hand to its citizens. That idea was debated at the top levels of our leadership as well. But the insight that the Prime Minister has of our people, so for instance, he said, well, if we give out cash to Indians, the psychology of Indians is to save and not spend. The purpose of cash in hand is so that they go in the market and they buy something, and that stimulates the economy. But the Indians, the way we're not going to go and spend. We're going to save that money for a rainy day. So that's not going to stimulate the economy. So that's not going to serve the purpose that it's supposed to be serving. Hence, we chose to give food instead of the cash in hand. So this, there were several smart decisions that we made during the pandemic that, that has led us to this point where we feel economically insulated.
I, being a US citizen, I must say that we salute the Prime Minister, because what was done in United States of America, the small businesses, even the large businesses, because the people, those who got the stimulus and the big packages, they are now suffering so very big because we don't have workforce to work for them.
So what we did with small and medium businesses, because they are the backbone of any economy, so the government gave out loans, and the government is takes the guarantee in case of default. So we made getting loans so easy for small and medium businesses without the pressure that they have to pay it back in an X number of time, because if they can't, the government will take guarantee. So we made a lot of these decisions that eventually helped us come out of this stronger.
That's what I'm saying. We, the people here, are suffering the decision to just disperse, because it was not the food, it was just the money.
Yeah.
And it's not that they are going to buy the food, because they are buying something else, what they really need, because you are getting a big checks, it's like we are seeing it. Like you go to any restaurant, they're asking jobs, but people are not ready to work.
Right.
So coming to the role of media, because which is it is a big irony, and the role of the opposition, which is, we felt sitting here, like I do recall, my father was 93, even he did the thali at that very time, because, respecting and trusting, because he so why do we still have that kind of, because when we talk about the vaccine, we did talk during the talk that the trust in the government, but on the contrary, our own elected officials, I can name them, from the Uttar Pradesh, the ex-CM, what he said, that is the biggest irony.
So, in fact, there is an organization that did some research on this immediately after the ex-CM of Uttar Pradesh made that statement, in the months following that statement. And they found, and this is Observer Research Foundation, Dr. Shamika Ravi, she found that the pockets where the ex-CM has influence over, his political party has influence over, they saw significantly larger like vaccine hesitancy than other pockets in Uttar Pradesh. So the government really had to work, extra hard to sort of build trust and confidence in those pockets. And only when the ex-CM came out in public and took the vaccine, and his father took the vaccine publicly, did those pockets sort of warm up to the idea of getting vaccinated. So that does harm, our system.
The role and the responsibility, we do need a very strong opposition, but it should not be going against the principle. When it comes to nation, we do have opposition party here, but when it comes to, they all come together when it is a matter of nation. Okay, so let's come to, there is one thing which is very, very interesting that I asked you, the media campaign.
Yes. It was very hurtful. Even when the vaccine distribution program was going on, I remember 12 chief ministers, along with a whole lot of media noise, wrote to the Prime Minister over and over and requested him over and over that why are you controlling the buying of vaccines? Let us buy vaccines. Now, international vaccine companies were not going to talk to individual mayors and chief ministers, when they were hardly even negotiating with the central government. But even then, there was such a hue and cry about why the Prime Minister is so controlling and autocratic and all kinds of things. So what happened? The Prime Minister allowed them to buy. What happened? They negotiated with these vaccine companies. Nobody even responded to them. Eventually, they had to come back to the Prime Minister and the central government and say, okay, we are not able to buy them. You buy it for us. So for every little thing, the media was activated so much, and not in a helpful sort of way, to damage us. And that really, worked against us.
As we know, India is going to be the host for G20 in 2023. And on the contrary, the federal government, the central government sitting in Delhi, and we do have a Chief Minister from Delhi. What he did, I am a Delhi girl. I recall that Anand Vihar, but I haven't gone through your book, but I do recall that, what has happened over there. Then it was Maharashtra. We saw that. Like some people just came as an angel, but what their vision and mission was, later on we gradually got to know.
Yeah, absolutely. During the second wave, I remember when oxygen was in short supply all over the country, Delhi was asking 5 times more oxygen than even opposition states like Maharashtra and Kerala when they had the same caseload. So what were they doing with that much more oxygen? The court asked them this question, the Supreme Court, and they had no record and no accountability of where this oxygen was going, whether it was how much was going to the refillers, how much was going to the hospitals, or how much was going to the nursing homes or the black market. They had no accountability at all. And that mindset that if the capital of the country burns, then that is a perception that is caused, internationally, that the entire country is burning, unfortunately.
Okay, let's go to the concluding part of it. The book is out now. So how the people are receiving it?
So it's been a bestseller since about 8 months now, and sometime in Diwali 23, we'll come out with a movie about how India handled the pandemic, and it'll be cinematic, it'll be, big budget Hindi movie. Hopefully people will take to it and, will be able to relate to what they've gone through the last 3 years.
We wish you all the best. Good luck.
Thank you.
And it is not easy to take up the subjects like these, but now is the need in today's time that we should be talking about, in the real world, our real subjects.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%.
Thank you.
Thank you.